When was the last time you looked in the mirror and truly respected the person staring back? Not just glanced, not just fixed your hair or adjusted your clothes, but really saw yourself. Most people spend their whole lives chasing love from everywhere except the one place it matters most, themselves. And that is exactly where the cycle begins, because the truth is simple. If you don't love yourself first, nothing you build in life will ever feel solid, stable, or real. Loving yourself isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It's understanding your value before the world tries to discount it. It's knowing that your worth doesn't come from who validates you or who stays loyal to you. It comes from the inner truth you carry. When you love yourself, you stop begging for acceptance from people who can't even accept themselves. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You stop allowing disrespect disguised as love. Suddenly, the world gets a new version of you. Stronger, clearer, unshakable. See, the relationship you have with yourself becomes the blueprint for every connection in your life. If you treat yourself like you're not enough, you'll tolerate friendships and relationships that treat you the same. If you constantly criticize yourself, you'll attract people who mirror that energy. But when you honor yourself, when you choose yourself, when you prioritize your peace, everything around you upgrades. People who can't match your new standard automatically fall away, and that isn't a loss. That's alignment doing its work. Self-love is the engine behind confidence, discipline, and growth. When you love yourself, you stop making choices that sabotage your future. You start making choices that protect it. You start eating better, thinking bigger, moving wise. You stop letting temporary emotions distract you from permanent goals. You understand that you can't pour into anyone else if your own cup is empty, cracked, or leaking. And you realize you deserve effort, support, patience, focus. And you start giving that to yourself before expecting it from anyone else. Some of you have been waiting for someone to come save you, uplift you, validate you, choose you. But nobody can love you properly until you learn how to love yourself deeply. And here's the part nobody says out loud. Self-love is not always soft. Sometimes it's tough conversations with yourself. Sometimes it's leaving people you care about. Sometimes it's closing doors that used to feel like home. Sometimes it's walking away from old versions of yourself that kept you stuck. But every step is worth it, because every step brings you closer to the life you were meant to live. Loving yourself first is the greatest shift you will ever make. It changes the way you talk to yourself. It changes the way you respond to pain. It changes the way you bounce back from setbacks. It changes the way you dream. When you love yourself, you don't chase, you attract. You don't settle, you elevate. You don't break, you bend and rise strong. This world moves fast, and life is always testing your patience, your strength, your resilience. But the moment you decide that you are worthy of love from yourself before anyone else, everything begins to align. Your choices get sharper. Your energy becomes cleaner. Your confidence gets louder. And people feel it without you saying a word. So start today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Start loving yourself like your future depends on it. Because it does. The minute you choose yourself, everything around you shifts. And that shift is the beginning of your evolution, your peace, your power, and your freedom. Love yourself first, and watch how everything else starts loving you back in the right way. Your relationship with yourself sets the standard for every relationship in your life, and most people never realize how deep that truth goes. You walk through the world thinking you're just reacting to life, but you're actually projecting the way you feel about yourself into every room, every conversation, every connection. If you don't value yourself, you'll accept the bare minimum from others. If you don't respect yourself, you'll let people walk over your boundaries. If you don't believe you're worthy, you'll cling to anyone who gives you a hint of attention. And if you spend your days doubting yourself, criticizing yourself, or comparing yourself, you'll naturally invite relationships that echo that same energy. People don't treat you the way you deserve. They treat you the way you treat yourself. And that's why everything begins with you. Think about it. When you're confident, when you're grounded, when you know who you are, you naturally carry a certain presence. You walk different, talk different, move different. You don't need to announce your value because your energy already speaks for you. But when your relationship with yourself is damaged, when you don't trust your own voice, when you don't honor your own needs, you hand the world a blueprint for how to handle you. If you tolerate disrespect from yourself, you tolerate it from others. If you talk down to yourself in your own mind, you allow others to do the same. Your inner dialogue becomes your outer reality. This is why self-love isn't just a cute idea or a feel-good phrase. It is a standard. It is the foundation of every boundary, every expectation, every connection you build. When you truly love yourself, you don't chase people who don't see your value because you already see it. You don't beg for loyalty because you are loyal to your own growth. You don't fear being alone because being alone with yourself no longer feels aligned. You don't settle for half effort, half love, or half respect because you know you deserve the whole thing. And you don't let people play with your time, your heart, or your mind because you've learned to protect your own peace long before anyone else ever tried. But this kind of relationship with yourself doesn't just appear. It's built. It's intentional. It's a choice you make every single day. Every time you tell yourself the truth instead of running from it, you strengthen it. Every time you forgive yourself instead of carrying guilt like a weight, you strengthen it. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, whether it's waking up early, starting a project, or walking away from someone who drains you, you strengthen it. And every time you choose your growth over temporary comfort, you reinforce the message that you matter. You can't expect people to treat you better than you treat yourself. You can't expect healthy love when you're still entertaining unhealthy thoughts. You can't expect clarity from others while living in confusion within yourself. The world mirrors your internal state far more than you realize. If you're drowning in self-doubt, you'll meet people who confirm it. If you're rooted in self-worth, you'll meet people who respect it. Your energy is always teaching others how to engage with you. So building a strong relationship with yourself isn't selfish. It's essential. It's the starting point for the life you want, the relationships you deserve, and the peace you've been searching for. When you know who you are, nobody can come into your life and convince you otherwise. When you honor your emotions, your voice, your dreams, you stop handing your power to people who don't know what to do with it. And when you elevate your relationship with yourself, everything and everyone connected to you is forced to rise or fall away. The standard you set internally becomes the standard the world follows. And once you understand that, you stop waiting for others to show you the love, respect, and loyalty you should have been giving yourself all along. Self-love is the foundation of confidence, discipline, and growth. And until you understand that, you'll always feel like you're fighting yourself more than you're fighting the world. Everything you want in life, success, peace, progress, stability, depends on how much you value yourself. Because when you love yourself, you stop operating from insecurity and start operating from intention. You stop letting fear run the show and start letting purpose lead the way. You stop sabotaging your own path and begin protecting. Self-love isn't soft or sentimental. It's the strongest structure you can build your life on. Confidence doesn't come from people hyping you up or clapping for you. That kind of confidence disappears the moment the applause stops. Real confidence comes from doing the work on yourself, from knowing your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, and owning your story. When you love yourself, you don't shrink in rooms where others shine. Because you're not comparing, you're aware of your own lane. You're aware of what you bring. You're aware that your existence alone carries value. You're not trying to compete or impress. You're focused on expressing who you truly are. That kind of confidence makes you unshakable because it's not built on people, it's built on you. Discipline grows from self-love just as deeply. People talk about discipline like it's punishment, but discipline is really a form of self-respect. When you love yourself, you set goals that matter to you and you commit to them. You don't make excuses for yourself because you know you deserve better. You don't delay your dreams because you realize no one is coming to build them for you. You don't keep breaking promises to yourself because you understand that your relationship with yourself shapes everything around you. Discipline becomes natural when you truly love who you're becoming. Think about the version of you that you want to be. Stronger, wiser, healthier, richer, more focused, more fulfilled. That version only appears when you stop letting temporary comfort distract you from long-term success. That's what self-love looks like in real life. It's waking up early because your goals deserve that effort. It's saying no to people who don't support your vision. It's choosing to heal instead of avoiding your pain. It's learning instead of complaining. It's committing to your growth even when no one is watching. It's choosing your future over your impulses. And then there's growth, something every person wants, but not everyone is willing to face. Growth isn't beautiful all the time. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it forces you to look at the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. But when you love yourself, you stop fearing transformation. You stop holding on to old habits, old environments, old relationships that kept you small. You stop settling for versions of yourself that no longer match the person you're meant to become. Self-love invites growth because you no longer see change as a threat. You see it as an upgrade. Growth means breaking cycles that have followed you for years. It means unlearning behaviors you picked up from survival. It means letting go of people who only love the older, weaker, or more confused versions of you. It means stepping into spaces that challenge you instead of staying where you feel comfortable but stagnant. When you love yourself, you trust that every step forward, even the difficult ones, is taking you somewhere meaningful. Most people don't struggle because life is too hard. They struggle because they don't believe they deserve more. They sabotage opportunities. They reject good relationships. They waste their potential, not because they want failure, but because deep down they don't feel worthy of success. That's what a lack of self-love does. It blocks you from becoming the person you're capable of being. But when you build self-love, everything opens up. You start taking risks. You start believing in your ideas. You start seeing possibilities instead of problems. You start treating yourself like someone with a future. Self-love is the root of everything powerful. Without it, you build a life that collapses the moment pressure hits. With it, you build a life that can weather storms. Confidence becomes natural. Discipline becomes automatic. Growth becomes constant. And you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you finally learn to stand with yourself instead of against yourself. Loving yourself first transforms your mindset, your choices, and your future. And until you truly understand that, you'll keep wondering why life feels heavy, why relationships feel draining, and why progress feels slow. Self-love isn't just about feeling good. It's about thinking clearly, choosing wisely, and building a future that reflects your real worth. It's the beginning of every breakthrough, every shift, every level up you're trying to reach. When you start loving yourself, the entire direction of your life changes because the person guiding your life, you finally steps into alignment. Your mindset is the first place that self-love does its work. Most people walk around battling silent wars in their minds. Doubt, insecurity, guilt, fear, unhealed memories, comparisons, overthinking. When you don't love yourself, your mind becomes your own enemy. It critiques you more than it encourages you. It remembers every mistake but forgets every triumph. It keeps you small when you're built for something bigger. But when you start loving yourself, your inner dialogue changes. You stop tearing yourself down for every flaw, and you start building yourself up for every blow. You stop treating every failure like a final destination and start treating it like a lesson that's shaping you. Instead of thinking, I can't, you start thinking, I'm learning. Instead of I'm not enough, you start thinking, I'm improving. This shift seems small, but it changes the entire lens through which you see your life. Your mindset becomes your compass. And when your compass is pointed towards self-worth, everything else follows. Then come your choices, the decisions you make daily, weekly, and in the quiet moments no one sees. When you love yourself, you stop choosing things that harm you. You stop choosing people who drain you. You stop choosing habits that slow down your growth. You start making decisions with clarity instead of desperation. You start protecting your mental peace instead of sacrificing it to please others. You start choosing relationships that value you, environments that inspire you, and actions that align with where you want to go. You stop saying yes to everything and start saying yes only to what serves you. Self-love gives you the courage to choose differently, to choose better, to choose yourself. You stop going back to situations that hurt you just because they're familiar. You stop chasing people who never choose you. You stop compromising your dignity just to feel wanted. You stop giving your heart to hands that don't know how to hold it. Your choices begin to reflect someone who understands their worth, not someone who's trying to earn it from others. And when your choices change, your future transforms automatically. Your future isn't built in one moment. It's built in thousands of small decisions that stack up over time. It's built in the boundaries you set, the energy you protect, the habits you commit to, the people you surround yourself with. When you love yourself first, your future stops being something you fear and becomes something you're building with intention. You start envisioning goals you once thought were out of your league. You start stepping into opportunities that align with your purpose. You start believing that good things can happen for you, not just for other people. Self-love opens doors because it removes the limitations in your mind. It removes the belief that you're not enough, not capable, not worthy of greatness. It unlocks the version of you that doesn't just survive life. You shape it, you lead it, you rise in it. And the most powerful part of loving yourself first is this. Your future begins to feel like something you deserve, not because of luck, not because of validation, but because you finally understand your value. When your mindset is stronger, your choices become smarter. When your choices become smarter, your future becomes brighter. And when your future becomes brighter, you finally realize that loving yourself first was never selfish. It was the foundation for every beautiful thing that was meant to come into your life. Your transformation begins the moment you decide to love yourself the way you always deserve to be loved. That's when everything shifts. That's when everything aligns. That's when your future opens. And that's when you finally become the version of yourself you were meant to rise into. And as this message comes to a close, remember this. The world will try to shape you, break you, distract you, and confuse you. But the moment you choose to love yourself first, everything changes. You stop moving like someone searching for permission and start moving like someone walking in purpose. You stop giving your power away and start taking ownership of your story. You stop waiting for love to find you and start becoming the kind of love that builds, heals, strengthens, and elevates every part of your life. Your peace becomes sacred. Your time becomes valuable. Your heart becomes protected. Your vision becomes clearer. And your future becomes something worth fighting for. Loving yourself first isn't an act of selfishness. It's an act of survival, of strength, of evolution. It's the beginning of your confidence, your discipline, your growth, your freedom. So walk forward with your head high, your energy grounded, and your heart open. You are worthy of love, starting with the love you give yourself. And once you master that, nothing in this world can stop what you're becoming.